Hi everyone, and happy holidays from SAIT Youth Programs. My name is Abdullah Rafi, and today I'm going to show you how to make this awesome 3D snowflake. It's really large, it's tons of fun to make, and you can put it on your stairwell, you can put it on your mantelpiece, or just like I'm going to do right now, I'm going to stick it on the wall right behind me and hope it doesn't fall as I show you how to make it today. So let's stick it on here. So that is the snowflake we're going to be making today. And the materials we'll need to make our snowflake are going to be 6 pieces of paper. I'm choosing to use just plain white paper because that's what I've made our example with, but feel free to use any color you'd like. We're going to need some clear tape. We're going to need scissors. And we're going to need a stapler as well. So what we're going to do with our first piece of paper, and what I'll do is I'll focus on our bottom video so you can get a better look at what we're doing, is we're going to grab our first piece of paper, and we're going to grab one of the corners, and we're going to bring that corner all the way down here, and we're going to line it up with this edge. And we'll see why in a second. So we take a look, we're going to make sort of a triangle out of our fold. Make sure it's lined up as well as you can get it. It doesn't need to be perfect. And once you get it to where you like it, give it a good crease, just like that. And then we're going to be left with sort of like a rectangle here on the bottom. And we're going to want to cut that rectangle off because we want a square piece of paper at the end of the day. So I'll grab my scissors and I'll cut that rectangle off. So what you're going to be left with after cutting that piece off is a square piece of paper. So we're going to leave that triangle folded, and we're going to face the folded side towards our body. And we're going to fold the triangle one more time down the middle. Try to get it as aligned as possible so all the edges match up nicely. And if it's not perfect, that's okay. Each snowflake is going to be a little bit different, so don't worry if it's not perfect. So we now have it folded twice over for our square, but we're going to keep it folded. And we're going to grab this sealed end, that folded end, into our hand. We're going to grab our scissors, and what we're going to want to do is we want to take this really long side of our paper, so I'm going to point that out, our long side, and we're going to cut across that long side. And you'll take a look as I cut it, and I'll show you how I do it. So don't start cutting yet, but we're going to cut 3 cuts into the piece of paper. So we'll do 1, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So this is the long end of our triangle right here. And that's our first cut. And we're going to go almost to the edge, but not all the way. And then we're going to do our second cut. And that's how it looks again. And then we're going to do our third cut. Now we're going to try to get those cuts as even as possible. So the thickness is going to be as even as we can get it, but if it's not perfect, that's okay as well. So once we have our 1, 2, and third cut there, we're going to put it back on the table, and we're going to open it up all the way to that square. It's a little bit difficult to open it up. And we're going to get it to that triangle we had before, and we're going to open it up one more time to get to that square. So what we've done so far is we made our square piece of paper, we folded it up into our triangle, we cut our 3 cuts, and now we're at this stage here. So what we notice is that we have 1 flap here, like that. We have another flap here that kind of connects, another flap here that kind of connects, and 4 flaps in total. So what we want to do is grab our clear tape. I have this clear tape right here. And we're going to take a small piece, just about that big. And we're going to grab our first flap that we pointed out and kind of curl it over each other, sort of like that, sort of like a straw, like a cylinder. We're going to grab our tape and we're going to tape it together. And I'll give you a closer look once it's taped together. So that's how it looks. And then what we'll do before we do our next flap is we'll turn our piece of paper over. We'll grab our tape, and this time, if we take a look at our flaps, they have two triangles, one here and one here, and a fold right in the middle of it. And we want to line up our triangles together so the folds fit together as well as you can get them. So they look sort of like that. And then you want to tape it together, and then you have something that looks like this. Then we want to put it back on the table, and we want to flip it again, like that. And we're going to go ahead and do the same thing. We're going to get our flaps together. We're going to line up the triangles, and we're going to get that crease together, just like that. And then put our tape across, so it looks something like this. So now we got a couple going here. And then we're going to put it back on the table, flip it over one last time, and then do the last flaps together. So put our triangles together, line up the folds just like that, and then put the tape on. And there you go. That is our first spiral. So if I go back to our first image that we had, there you go. You can take a look at my snowflake over here. And what we've done is created one of the 6 spirals we're going to be creating. So this, for example, would be that thing right there. So I'm going to ask you to make 5 more. So we have the one we just made together and 6 in total. But before we do that, I'm just going to go right back to this stage here. And I want to show you one more time how we make those flaps. So we have our paper, we've made our folds, we've cut it along that edge, and we're just going to start off with our flat piece of paper, grab a piece of tape, curl our paper into a little straw shape or a cylinder, and then tape it up. The first one's kind of hard to do, just like that. And then we're going to flip it over. And we're going to do it again with the other one, but this time we're going to watch those triangles so they line up with each other, just like that. Yep. And tape it up again. And we're going to keep on doing that until we get back to our spiral, just like that. So once you're patient, you go through all 6 of them. You should have 6 spirals in total. So I'll show you the ones that I made before making this video. And there are a lot of them. There are 6. There you go. So I have all 6 of my spirals are all exactly the same, or as close as I could get them to be exactly the same. And this is where we get our stapler. So the first thing we're going to do is, let's just move these aside, just get them handy, is we're going to grab our first spiral. I'm going to move the camera up so you can see it. Just like that. So we're going to grab our first spiral here. And then we're going to grab our second spiral. And we're going to take these 2 triangles at the tips of our spiral, and we're going to put them flat against each other. Just like this. We turn it to our side, and you can see it's starting to sort of look like our other snowflake over there. So we have 2 spirals here, yep. And then we're going to grab our third one. And instead of putting it on this side again, we're going to go ahead and put it on the other side, just so we can kind of even it out. And we're keeping those aligned as best as we can. Grab another spiral and put it on the other side. There you go. And then grab another one on the other side, and we should have 2 more to make 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 more to make 6. 1 more spiral, line it up on the last side, and now we should have all of the pieces together just like that. We're going to grab our stapler, and you might need some help with this part. Grab our stapler and staple that piece together, just like that. So now it's sort of not a snowflake yet, but as soon as you let go, we start to get that snowflake shape. Now it's kind of loose still, so what we need to do is staple each spiral together. And the way we do that is when I'm holding this up, you can see where we taped our pieces individually. And we want to put this kind of X right here and that X right there. We want to put them together. We can use our fingers to pinch that together just like that. Grab our stapler and staple those 2 together. It gets a little finicky, so I'm going to bring it closer to my body. And that's one stapled there. And then we have our X here and our X on the next one. And we're going to staple it together one more time. Just like that. Nice. And we're going to grab this one, and we're going to keep on going. Grab our 2 X's, put them together, and staple them together. And we're going to keep on doing that until we have all the pieces stapled together. So I'm just going to go ahead and zoom right here. I'll push this down so you can take a look at what I'm doing. Grabbing the X's together. Stapling them. And last one, X's together. And then stapling them. Oh, actually one more. There you go. Staple. There you go. And that is our snowflake. So great job if you're able to follow along. Feel free to go back in the video, slow it down. There's definitely some tricky parts, and maybe even experiment with trying different colors out. I'm hoping you have a fun time creating this 3D snowflake with me. And I just want to wish all of you a happy holidays from SAIT Youth Programs and a happy New Year.